Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Where you at?
Somewhere. Oh, there I am.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
There you are. I thought I was going to have to do this by myself because you were chickening out talking about your football team.
A little cowardly, yes. I hate being a fan of a team and not having the greatest, even though the expectations are there, I don't have the greatest outlook so far for my team this year. So that's why I'm a little nervous.
I'm just going to call you a chicken and move on with it because I am never scared to be who I am about my football team. And I am most definitely not scared to talk about your football team.
Let's go.
Welcome back to It's in the Blood. My name is Alex. That guy is Papa Blood. And today is a day. I think it's a Sunday, which is the last Sunday without NFL football. I could not be more excited. I already know he doesn't have to say anything. He could not be more excited. But today is also important because it is part 4 of our preseason predictions. I know we did things a little bit differently than last year. I hope you guys enjoyed it this way. If you didn't, be sure to let us know in the comments below. But today we're going to be talking about the NFC North, which I'm excited to talk about. And also, we saved it for last because we knew he was shaking in his boots, the AFC North. And I cannot wait to talk about that bloodbath because that's pretty much what it's going to be. Let's be honest here. Before we get into the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Of course, we always appreciate that. But if you have not joined our CBS Pick'em League and you would like to, we always give some prize at the end. All you have to do is pick teams who you think is going to win for every game until the Super Bowl. The link is going to be in the description. I'm just letting everybody know I'm going to win this year. I did really bad. This is going to be my redemption season. So I want you, the viewer, to come and challenge me and this guy who's going to be below me this year and pick some football games with us. Anyway, so I think that means we're going to kick off with the NFC North, and I am going to make you go last with the AFC North, so that means you have the mic.
Honestly, stoked to watch this division. Aaron Rodgers is gone. Everybody's got a chance. You know, it's kind of got that vibe. Minnesota holds pat. They lose Dalvin Cook. They start trading away from guys. It looks like it's going to be a very, very, very open division. The team that finished the strongest last year in all of football, with the quarterback that finished the strongest last year in all of football, believe it or not, was Jared Goff. And I think they're going to start out and have a great season this year. And I will take the Detroit Lions at 12-5. Honestly, I think they right now are the class. I love listening to all the draft announcers talk about how poorly it was for them to take a running back and a linebacker in the first round, but they got 2 slam dunk draft picks I think are going to be awesome. They're phenomenal. They're going to be a great team. It gets a little muddled after that. I hate to kind of come here, but I don't have a clear-cut favorite for second place, but I'm going to stick with Minnesota at 9-8. I think that I just don't think they're bad, but I don't think they're great either. I think third place is going to fall to the Chicago Bears at 8-9. And fourth place will be Green Bay at 7-10. I'll explain after.
Fair enough, because you're going to need to. Or I'm going to need to after I make my picks. I'm not sure which. So first place on my NFC North is going to be, obviously, I'm going to agree with you here, the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, you know, they're going to have Jamison Williams after 6 weeks. They've got a lot of young guys, and they drafted the tight end. I'm very excited to see him as well. He seems to be utilizing
Sam
Laporta, yes. I'm very excited about this offense, this defense also. But anyway, 10-7, got the Lions number 1. I have them going 4-2 in their division, and that is important because my number 2 is also going to finish with 10-7, but a lower division win total, which is why they're second, and that's going to be the Packers, also at 10-7. We'll talk about it. My number 3 is going to be the Vikings. I have them just below 500 at 8-9. And like I say, we're going to get into everything. And that leaves the Bears at number 4 at 6-11.
Fair enough. You don't have confidence that Justin Fields is going to take a jump this year?
I have plenty of confidence. He also doesn't have to take that big of a jump because he played really good football last year. It's not his fault they lost games. Not all their games, anyway. I don't think their defense is that much better.
There's a lot of
It's fine. If they can score, if Justin Fields can score 35 points a game, that's completely fine. But if their defense is going to give up that many too, and it doesn't really matter.
I think the argument is that maybe I can get you to agree that the team with the best defense in the division is going to be Detroit.
No.
See, well, if I can't get you to agree to that, are you going to? I don't understand. I don't know where you're going to go for the next best defense in the division.
I think the Packers are going to have the best defense in the league. I think the Lions and Vikings are going to fight for the best offense in the league. And I think the Bears will be the most exciting team of the league, but they will not win as many games. And everyone says, 6-11. You think they're not going to be any better than last year? They only won 2 games last year. 4-game improvement. That's a big jump for a defense that's still crap.
Clearly, I think we see this division a lot differently.
Listen, if I had it the way I wanted it to, it would be in the exact same order, but I would switch Chicago and the Vikings. Let's talk about the Vikings. This is the big everyone, they won 13 games last year. They're the best team in the division. They were never the best team in the division. They had a Cincinnati goes to the Super Bowl, things went right for them year, okay? Except for they got sent home by the Giants in round 1. That's a big difference between those two teams anyway. But Cincinnati was a better football team than this team is. So they've got another wide receiver to put next to Justin Jefferson. They lost Adam Thielen, so they had to fill that spot anyway. They lost Dalvin Cook. Alexander Mattison is good, but I think the loss of Cook is going to hurt that run game either way. Look, like I said, I'm a big Alexander Mattison fan, but that run game's going to look different. Is that offensive line going to be able to keep Kirk Cousins on his feet? Is their defense any better than it was last year?
That's a big question.
I don't think so either. I think the Vikings and the Bears did not do enough to improve their defense. They improved their offense other than the running back situation with Minnesota, but like the Bears, they did improve their offense. They went and got DJ Moore. That's going to be perfect. Like in my mind, if I didn't look at any schedules, I would have the Bears at 8-9 and the Vikings at 6-11. That's where it would be. And I would keep the Packers and Lions the same. I think the Vikings overachieved, and they are going to incredibly underwhelm their fan base this year. Now, 8-9 is not a bad record, and in this conference, that could mean a trip to the playoffs.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you really think that Minnesota's defense is going to be worse with Brian Flores as coordinator?
I don't think it's going to be worse, but, like, what big names did they add? All I seen was the names that they lost.
They still got Daniil Hunter.
Yeah, and he's good.
Gosh, you know what? Marcus Davenport is the only other player on that defense that I know.
They still got Patrick Peterson. I mean, he's like 40 years old, but they still got him, don't they? Like, okay, they lost that.
Unless he's on some kind of a didn't report or pup list, I don't think he's still on that team.
Okay, well, maybe he retired. I don't know. But there's just not enough depth there because there's barely enough on the surface to go to the number 2 strings and the number 3 strings. There's no depth. They didn't get better. They might be coached better, but when you've only lost talent as opposed to added talent to what you had.
Yeah, they basically got rid of all their big money players on defense, I'm pretty sure.
And that's all fine and dandy. They got to pay Justin Jefferson. We get it. Like I said, their run game is going to hurt. They've got the air game, but you need a run game for a successful air game. But with a bad offensive line and your RB2 becoming your RB1, with your RB1 gone, he's not even there to be of like a coaching on the sideline. A bad O-line with a not proven RB1 yet is not going to lead to a lot of success in the air unless they just get lucky and throw up jump balls to Justin Jefferson and he catches every single one of them. And their defense didn't get better. They might get coached better, and that will help, but it doesn't fix the problem if you don't have enough talent on defense. Like offense, you can make it work with not very talented wide receivers, but on defense, like that's important.
Boy, they gave Hawkinson a big contract too. That's going to change the.
Oh God, I love that guy, but I wish he would have taken that contract anywhere else.
Yeah, I know that. I see your point about the defense. I just think Brian Flores can make that defense 3 points better than it was last year. If it was 3 points better than it was last year, if they have any kind of running game at all, they should be able to somewhat duplicate. May not win all the one-score games.
That's what I'm saying is take all the one-score games and cut the number of wins they had out of all of those in half, and that's where I think they're at this year. They're not going to win 13 games, So say they had 10 one-score games, they're going to win 5 of those this year. And so dropping them down to 8 and 9, that cuts 5 wins off of last season.
Yeah,
and that's where they're at.
We're pretty close. I think we're pretty close, but we just got to.
It's not even disrespecting them. Like a lot of those one-score games, they should have never won. The miracle comeback against the Colts, no, that should have never happened. Like the Colts just blew the biggest lead of all time. And there's a lot of they got lucky with a field goal or a missed field goal or whatever it was. Like there was too much luck that went into their season and not necessarily all skill. They didn't go out there and confidently win 13 games. They went by and scraped by and got lucky for 13 wins. You know where I had them sitting at last season, and everyone called me a fool when they won 13 games? I had them sitting at 6-11. And what did I say just a few minutes ago? If I had it my way, that's where I would put them at again. But I'm giving them some respect from what they were able to accomplish last year and giving them 8 and 9 as opposed to 6 and 11. And the Bears, I'm standing by what I said, okay? Like, they're going to be better. They're going to look better. They're going to work better. But their defense isn't that much better. And so teams are still going to score a lot of points on them. And will Justin Fields be able to go head-to-head on a shootout? Well, he might be able to run for 300 yards and throw for 150 in a shootout, but the same amount of points would be scored either way. And so, yeah, I think he could go toe-to-toe in that kind of situation. They're a run-heavy team. That's what they're going to do because that's what they're good at. and they figured out that Justin Fields is good at that, so they're going to make him do that some more until teams don't allow him to. And when he gets forced to only throw, I think there's still room for mistake, which is a turnover or two here and there, and that's why that's going to be the difference in a lot of their games. Do I think he's gotten better? I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if he has, but I remember watching him all season long, and he was good. When he was upright, he was good, whether he was running the ball or throwing it. I enjoyed watching him. He's going to continue to grow. This team's going to continue to grow, but they're not there yet. They're another year or two away. They're 1 or 2 pieces on defense away from me taking them 100% seriously. Like, I'm watching them, like, saying, oh, yeah, they're going to go 6-11, but they could surprise me because their defense or their division is considerably weaker. I don't think it's that much weaker. You know, people say that. I don't believe that. I think it's the same division it was last year, just without Aaron Rodgers, okay? Aaron Rodgers was not good last year, so I don't know how that's going to factor. But, you know, but they're in a weaker conference. And they have a really good, you know, a really good chance. But I don't trust their offensive line, and their defense just isn't a top 10, even top 15 defense. And once they get that defense up where it needs to be, they will be a lethal team. I think that's next year. You know, I think they're going to continue to build that defense. It's not there yet. It will be, though. Like, I have faith that that's going to keep growing. And we haven't even talked about the Lions and Packers. Well, we briefly talked about the Lions, but you didn't even ask me why I put the Packers at 10-7.
I mean, I don't know why you put the Packers at 10-7.
All right. Well, let me tell you why I put the Packers at 10-7. Look, it's Jordan Love season. I haven't watched that much of Jordan Love, but I did watch him on one of his few NFL starts, and they were against the Chiefs, so I got to watch that pretty well. And he took us to the wire. I'm going to be honest. There might have been only like 28 points scored in that game, but it was a good game. And I was actually nervous that we were going to lose to Jordan Love. And we have to play Jordan Love again this year. So there's that. They have a lot of talent at young wide receiver that are all under the age of 30. Like most of their team is under the age of 30. So they're all going to grow in this league together. And, you know, I spoke on this Joe Burrow's rookie year and his second year about how all of the veterans weren't working out. And so they just kept bringing in these young guys. It's because young guys get along better with young guys, and the veterans get along better with veterans. And that's just how it is. Also, I just told you at the beginning of this, I think they have the best defense in the division. That's important. That is important. As long as they're healthy. If anybody starts going out, then that is gone. They're automatically dropped to 2 or 3. But as long as they stay healthy, I believe that. And they'll prove to you. They're not going to win the division, but they will prove to you that I'm correct. And they still have an immaculate run game. And that's is so important for a young quarterback.
That's fair. I'll give you. I will definitely give you that. Dillon and Jones are a great 1-2 punch.
And apparently they got their nose in the Jonathan Taylor Bowl also.
Yeah, I mean, why not stick your nose into that for a more finesse runner? I think. I mean, that's the way I would describe him. But I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't see that defense being as good as you do.
I believe it.
I got
every year they say the Packers defense is going to be good, and I never believe them.
I love Jair Alexander.
Oh, I love that guy.
Playing cornerback, I mean, that's fair enough.
And having a guy like that as your leader of your defense is important.
I like Russell Douglas at cornerback.
But
as far as anybody else goes, I can't. Rashawn Gary in linebacker.
Rashawn Gary is a key, and he's supposed to be healthy by week 1.
So I mean, but after that, I don't see a lot of depth.
Listen,
I feel like is just as I feel like it's the same defense that Chicago.
No, this is like the second youngest team in the NFL. Look, I feel like this defense is what that defense about 3 years ago for Buffalo is. Nobody knew but 2 names, maybe 3 names on that defense, but they were really good. See, that is the vibe I'm getting from this group of guys on defense.
So
you might only be able to name 3 of them.
So that's your feeling on their defense. I got it.
Yeah, I feel strongly about it.
Okay, so you're feeling that their defense is that good. I'm not on board with that. I do like Van Ness, the other linebacker that they took from Iowa as a rookie. I don't know if he's going to play a lot. Haven't really seen. I watched him a little in preseason. Man, I just think that we're looking at these teams and we're seeing different teams the same way. I feel like
this is the biggest separation I think we've had.
Oh, for sure. Because the problem is that I think we really both disagree on Chicago's deep. I think we disagree on 3 out of the 4 teams. To be honest,
everybody but Detroit.
But I think we agree that Detroit's going to be better.
Yeah, I got faith in PC Principal, aka Dan Campbell. I got all the faith in the world in him coaching those boys to a division title.
Their defense got better. They got rid of Hawkinson and played better on offense. I mean, that's amazing.
It's like the Panthers last year with McCaffrey, dude. Like, it feels the same. I was really sad about them trading him, but I guess it didn't work, right? I mean, it worked out for both of them. That team's gonna be so much fun. I'm nervous about week 1, which we'll get into that, in the next soon. But
pretty awesome that we can completely disagree. I think this as a whole, this division is the youngest division in the NFL this year,
except for maybe the Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings got a third.
Vikings got a kind of older defense.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, I think it's time. We got to do it. I know you've been not wanting to do it, but I am ready as I will ever be to talk about the AFC North, 4 of them. So starting off, I've got the number 1 in the AFC North is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals at a whopping 11-6. And number 2, I've got the Baltimore Ravens at a 10-7. And number 3 and 4 will have the same record, but the order is due to division wins, which this is why I wish I would have switched it. And if I did it any other way, it'd be the opposite order. But I've got the Browns at 9-8 and the Steelers also at 9-8. Something's brewing in Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, that's pretty good because I agree. I listened to Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott talk about the way Pittsburgh hit in preseason. These guys are on a mission. I really like them. I like them so much that it makes me sick to say that I like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But coming in with my division win this year, I don't think there's going to be anything within the division that stops Baltimore at a 12-5 clip. I feel like Lamar Jackson got his money. I feel like he can stop being a whiny baby. I feel like last year was just him pouting and letting his team down, and I think he's improved. I think he's ready to go. I know he's been working on his passing game. He's got a new OC that really is going to utilize him. I feel like they're going to be scary good. Even when their defense lost all them players, they went out and they found people to fit that defensive scheme and still compete at a high level. They're scary. I would like my Bengals. I would give my Bengals a better chance of winning the AFC than I give them at winning their own division, and that's just because of matchup. Second in that division, I'd take Cincinnati, and I'm gonna not. And I was stuck between. If I could give them 10.5 wins, I would.
I mean, you technically can. There's such thing as a tie.
Well, I'm gonna give them the 11-6 clip right behind Baltimore. just because I feel like they're going to – I don't like the fact that everybody's got them picked to win so many games this year. I think that's a bad omen to pick. Like NFL Network has them at like 14-3, and I just disagree with that. But I don't think the NFL Network looks at this division the way I do. Third, Pittsburgh's coming in, and they're gonna slide in here at a 10-7 clip. I think they're going to be really good. I think they're the most complete team right now in the NFC and the AFC North, just based on their improvements from last year. And then Cleveland Browns are going to sink in at a sultry 7-10 record. I think Deshaun Watson doesn't get it done over division rivals, and I think they lose a couple of close games because I'm not sold on their defense.
I don't even know if I believe anything you just said. I don't know. It just sounded like you were telling lies. I don't know. Like on purpose.
It's like I come from some alternate reality to give you.
Like you were trying to like twist it as, you know, like reverse psychology it a little bit. You're like, ooh, Baltimore's scary, which I'm not disagreeing with you, but man, you just smacked Cleveland right across the face.
I don't think Cleveland.
This is the best division in football right now. And the best division in football doesn't have a team with a losing record in it. I just something has to go really wrong for that to happen, in my opinion. You know, like what happened to Baltimore last year? They were completely, you know, brutal with all the injuries, and they still had a winning record. I know it's tough to win in the AFC. I know it. That's why the highest win count is 13, and one team had that. And I think that might be my only I don't even think I had a 12-win team in the AFC.
I think Pittsburgh is the 12. Or not Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, Baltimore.
I was like, now you really are making stuff up because I don't remember you saying that. Yeah, I had the Bills winning their division at 10-7. You know, like, and then the Jags winning their division at 10-7. There's going to be a lot of winning, but I just feel like there's so much competition that everybody's winning enough to have a winning record, but not enough to shoot for the stars. And other than Kansas City, but like I said in the last video, you got to take them down for me to take, you know, to entertain that. I'm not going to speculate until it happens.
Their dominance within division is the reason why I gave them 13 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have, I'm not going to say easier because we know how they play, but like they're not going to struggle for wins as much as all of the other AFC divisions to find wins, if that makes sense, right? You know, so if we want to talk about it, I've got the Bengals and the Ravens both going 4-2 within the division. Now, I don't feel the same about the division winning totals for Cleveland and Pittsburgh that I have, so I'm not really going to talk about that. The record, I'm comfortable with keeping them both at a 9-8, but the division wins, I would change some things, which would, if I changed it right now, all four of them would be 3-3. I'm going to be real with you. Like, that's how I feel as this offseason has gotten closer to the regular season. But let's talk about Pittsburgh. If they can repeat preseason, how they played, well, they might just to the Super Bowl. You know, we don't know. But it's going to be Kenny Pickett, year 2. George Pickens, year 2.
Love George Pickens.
A seemingly better offensive line, which means a
better quarterback.
Improved Najee Harris because he had a down year. But I have not given up on him. I think better O-line, give him better lanes. Let's hope his field vision is a little bit better than it was last year. And I think the run game improves, which inevitably helps their young QB. And also their defense is scary. It always has been, it always will be. Anytime TJ Watt's on the field, I'm afraid for the 11 guys on the other side of the ball.
Oh, yeah, by far. I mean, he's not, he doesn't make that high upper echelon money, but he's sure close.
He could make as much money as he wanted to, honestly. But yeah, 9-8 seems low for the Steelers. I'll admit to myself that I could see them getting 1, 2, at the most 3 more around 11 area. 12 if the top 2 I picked are worse than I predicted. Over to the Browns. They are the wild card spot of this division because we don't know. I think their entire season falls on the hands of how does Deshaun Watson perform. Do I think he's going to be, the 2019 season, Deshaun, whatever season that was? No. But do I think he takes a step back into that direction? Absolutely. I think he'll make a little bit less mistakes than last year. The short time he got to play, he's going to have a full off season to actually work out with these guys. He's got guys like Amari Cooper. Nick Chubb is easily the top 3, if not the best running back in the league. I'll die on that hill.
I would take him number 1 as my running back if I had the opportunity.
Christian McCaffrey's a hybrid. I don't really count him as the same category because he's got the same talent, but not same category. Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor was the only guy when he had his full healthy season to combat that. And Nick Chubb was hurt that year, so he's good. Their offensive line is good. Their defensive line is good. They've got offensive weapons. Is their secondary going to be good enough? That's the only thing. Deshaun Watson and their secondary.
Well, in this division, your secondary better be spot on because if you're not chasing down, and I'm using my team, if you're not chasing down T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd, you're trying to prevent Lamar Jackson from running the ball. I feel like their secondary is going to be tested.
It's always tested, but this year for sure.
But you still have. You have Denzel Ward in that secondary. That's
I still like him.
Probably their best guy, but you know what? He's a 6-year guy. Greg Newsome. He's probably might be their best cover corner. I don't know.
He's not bad. I think he fits well in that defense. They do have Juan Thornhill this year, and that's my boy.
Yeah, they put him in safety, didn't they?
That's my boy.
Yeah. Yeah, safeties. You got to play safe. You got to have good safeties. That's where there's my big fear about Cincinnati is that, although Nick Scott's very transitional but your safety and you're pretty new at safety this year. And that's one of their strong suits last year. Von Bell and Jesse Bates did not miss tackles. They did not miss coverages. They did not mess up in the secondary, which kept a lot of teams down because they played very well next to each other. That's the big difference with Cincinnati. I don't know. But Cincinnati followed your team's pattern once again, and they drafted very well within cornerbacks and safeties the last 2 years, and they're gonna rely on the young guys. Chidobe Awuzie is still there. Nick Scott.
I feel like Awuzie is an important piece to have kept. As long as he comes back all right,
Yeah, he came off the PUP list. I think he's still going to be good. Our linebacking crew is as good as it. I'm sad that they had Osai out there playing in that last game and he twisted his ankle or did whatever. Haven't seen the injury report. But linebacker and front line is all really – the defense is solid all the way around. I'm not scared about that. Lamar being able to throw and run with a good offensive coordinator scares me. Kenny Pickett scares me just from year 1 to year 2 because of how well he played at the end of the season. And plus they've got weapons. God, it's just a tough division. And I
think the most important thing for Baltimore's success, because you've got them a couple games higher than I do. We have the same mentality. You just have them a little higher up. But the thing I'm still timid about is overall team health. They've spent 2 years beat down bad, and so that's the most important thing. And the thing we didn't talk about is, you're talking about Lamar running the ball and throwing the ball, but we didn't talk about who he's throwing the ball to. They went and got some speed in Zay Flowers. And they also got OBJ. If he does come back in his true form, he could be one of them bigger guys that can get up and get a ball. And their run game is special, man, because of how Lamar can run the ball. So I think the overall message to Baltimore, like, if you want a shot at winning that division, you got to do whatever you can to stay healthy. Like, wear some bubble wrap under your pads. Like, I don't know. Like, that would be my biggest thing. And then the Bengals, it's the same thing. Like, they're different teams, but it feels the same. If you keep Joe Burrow healthy and your O-line holds up like you're paying them to do, staying healthy equals winning games. And that's exactly what I wrote at the bottom of the Bengals. You got good wide receivers. Joe Mixon's going to be there. It may or may not be his last year. We don't know. But he still has the ability to run the ball well when he needs to. He just can't go 1 out of every 3 games having at least an average or above game. Like, he's got to be consistent. The defense, I'm not worried about. Like, there's a couple young guys in there, but, like, I'm not worried about them, right? Like, you lost Jesse Bates, you lost Von Bell. There's a couple pieces that are not there that I think even the team still wishes they were there. Like, I loved seeing those guys there. They're going to shine in their new teams, whatever. They got paid to do that, and that's exactly what they're going to do. But I think keep Burrow upright. Don't let him mess up his knee, because this time might not be as easy to transition from than last time. And the Bengals will be fine.
Dude, my favorite story in the preseason with Cincinnati was the kid that played his way onto the roster was Tyson Anderson, the safety. He got the 2 picks, the 2 interceptions and the pick 6, and the 1 game, and he played his way onto the roster. Stories like that are super awesome. I really love our team this year, and and to be completely honest, they played very well with no offensive line all the way to almost to go into the Super Bowl. Losing 3 out of your 5 starting offensive linemen in the playoffs and still winning games is a testament that you're getting better with your backups. And I think they're better. And now it's just a point of getting everybody to the finish line. I'm with you. I'm not the biggest Orlando Brown fan. I know that there's no bigger left tackle in the game. And I don't trust that his intentions in being a Bengal is purely to try to win a Super Bowl. I think he wanted the contract. He got his contract front loaded. I think he's going to play 2 years and opt out. He may show up. I'm not sure. I'm still unsold. If he goes in there and plays well, then great. But there's something about that guy I don't particularly care for. Everything else I'm really happy with. I think this is the do or die year for Cincinnati, to be honest. And I think their regular season is going to be a little rougher, and hopefully they're all healthy by the playoffs to where they can at least compete for it.
I just keep going back and looking at some of these schedules over and over again, and I'm disregarding what decision I made, win or lose, and just looking at all of these opponents. And now that we've talked about all 32 teams, it's just like, some of these teams, man, like, I'm kind of scared for. Like, it's going to be a crazy year. This is going to be a crazy season. This AFC is absolutely insane. Like, the bottom isn't even that, like, bad. Like, they're at the bottom because they're so young. Like, they're not, obviously, like, the Houston Texans are not the Bengals, they're not the Ravens, they're not the Chiefs, but if they keep drafting and building the way they are, who's to say they won't be in a year or two? Look how fast Jacksonville turned their team around. This AFC is an absolute nightmare.
I agree. I'm excited to watch it start. I'm excited for my team. I'm excited for your team. I think we've done very well at maintaining and filling our roster through the draft. Not necessarily free agency. We each seem like we get one or two good free agents a year. Hopefully they work out, but it looks like both teams are using the draft. I just don't think I have the head coach. I'm not a Zach Taylor fan. I'm not sold on him yet.
He's grown on me, but I like your OCDC better than him.
For sure. I think his coaching decisions, like I told you, I can take last year apart. The first 2 games of the season were lost on coaching decisions. You give us those 2 wins, we may not have to go to Kansas City in the playoffs. Would that be not going to Kansas City? Would that be a win for the team? Absolutely. It's going to Kansas City for the AFC Championship is a disaster waiting to happen. I didn't like going there, but when you play well, here's the big problem. And this is the reason why I can't give them more wins on the season. When you play well, everybody's looking to knock you off. At Pittsburgh, Cleveland, everybody that's on your schedule is looking to beat you, especially when you win the Super Bowl or you go to the Super Bowl or you're one of the final 4 teams in the league. Everybody's looking to knock you off, and you got to go out and play football.
I hear that. Loud and clear.
One last time, do we want to remind everybody to check out CBS, our Pick'em Challenge there? The link will be in the description.
Like I said, no one's going to beat me, but I want every one of you who watch this video to try.
Picks in before Thursday, because Thursday night we start the season with Detroit at Kansas City. Couldn't think of a more high-profile game to start the year with. 2 teams that are ready to whip each other's butts. And guess what, guys? We're back. We'll be here all fall and winter with you guys all the way through the Super Bowl.
Fingers crossed. Our predictions will be out in time.
Yeah, it's going to be close.
We're cutting it really close. We've both got our predictions ready. We just got to record it. As soon as we get this video edited out to you, we can start on that. So be sure to run this up. Leave a comment. Let us know why you think, whoever you think is going to win this division, either one, the AFC or the NFC. But we had a lot of differences here between the 2 of us. So if you want to leave us a comment, see what you think, and see who's on whose side more, because I'm curious. I know there's going to be someone be like, Pittsburgh's going to win the division. Pittsburgh could win the division, so I'm not even going to argue with that. But we would love to hear what you have to say. We would love for you to join our CBS Pick'em group. And like I said, once again, our weekly picks, week 1, hopefully, fingers crossed, coming out right behind this one. We'll see what happens. But if things don't go that well, we will figure something out. And we absolutely cannot wait. Football is here.
See you guys on Thursday.